Really? Put 12 more minutes on you? Wow.
A lot. And I wasn't going slow.
No, I wasn't either.
Clearly. And he dropped his pacer, I think, at this point, didn't he?
I did. Yeah. It was a bathroom break, though, more than a drop, I think. But yeah, I dropped my pacer.
I also dropped my
What mile was that?
Oh, yeah.
What mile was that?
Between 60 and 70.
About 70 miles.
Yeah. So the max is 24 minutes ahead, and the next aid station is 24 miles to go. So I'd had to catch up a minute a mile, and I wasn't catching it. So I was pretty resigned to coming second. I thought, there's no way I'm going to catch him now unless it goes horribly wrong.
Oh, and
I'll pass over Max.
oh, and then it did. And the next time you saw me, though, it was like this on the side of the trail.
Where was that at?
About mile 80.
Okay.
So I made it around. So all from about 65 to 76 is all like a real gradual downhill. So it's pretty fast, all on dirt road basically. So really nice. I was cruising, felt really good, and then about 76. Mile before 76, the outward bound aid station started to like feeling a little worse, and then I came into outward bound. I was like, yeah, this is not feeling so good anymore, but I figured I could at least jog slowly for the rest of the way, and I had about 4 more miles to get over to, or actually 2 more miles to get over to a climb. The last climb, you go up power line, and then you go down the other side, and then it's flat all the way in. And I figured, okay, I'll get the power line, I can hike up that, and then cruise down, and then it's a 13-mile flat. But then I made it around the road. That was pretty hard, and then the climb, I was going to hike it, but I got to where I couldn't really hike at that point, at least very quickly. I was walking very, very slowly, and my body just would not move. And so I started losing a lot of time at that point, and kind of figured out that my race was probably just about over, and then got up to the top of that climb, and I didn't feel really good. Like my stomach was fine, I wasn't cramping, but my legs wouldn't move. Like my whole body hurt.
How was that mentally?
I think it was the altitude. At one point, it was just it kind of accumulated. Like I felt fine going up over Hope Pass twice, but I think the accumulation of going up over Hope Pass twice and the being at altitude for that long, finally.
Because that's about 13 hours
got
into
to
the race at this point. So it's a lot of exercise at altitude right now.
And it finally just hit me and it got to me.
And how was that mentally, like, because you still finished? So mentally, like, knowing what was happening?
Like, when your body hurts that much, like, you're kind of, I was kind of resigned to the fact that I was done running because I just couldn't run. So I laid down at the top of the power line for a little while, and that was when Ian passed me. Like, right.
Checked he wasn't dead or anything, or if he needed medical attention. I was worried because,
such a good teammate.
He wasn't just sat at the side, he was lying down fully. So it wasn't just kind of hunched over, he was flat and didn't look happy.
No. But it was weird because I was totally with it, like mentally. Like, I could talk and like I was like, my mind was with it, so it wasn't like I was bonking. But it was like my whole body just felt terrible, and that's back when I saw you. And so I was like coherent and stuff, but like I was just done doing any kind of exercise. So then I walked, like flats and the downhills were okay, so I walked down, got to the next aid station with 13 miles to go, and I kind of decided that I was probably going to finish. I didn't really want to finish, but I really wanted that belt buckle.
But that's the thing, it is a decision, because it's always going to, I wasn't feeling great, obviously I was feeling a bit better than Max, but you got to decide that you're going to keep suffering or you're going to give up. And Max chose to keep suffering and finish the race. So he still got 9th, despite walking 20 miles slowly.
And under 20 hours.
And Max 20 hours.
You didn't have anybody pacing him, did you?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I had, I was going to have 2 pacers. One paced me from 50 to 87 at Makeley. And then I was going to have another pacer the last 13 miles. But that pacer, unfortunately, did not get a run in. So I had one of my crew guys wanted to walk it in with me, so he walked the 4 hours with me in from Makeley. So it took me like 4 hours once I got to that last aid station to walk it in. So I kind of regrouped, ate some food there, and then walked the whole
Yeah, I was curious about that because I got news that you were just pretty much done walking at that point.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering if you had somebody that was.
It wasn't like a motivation thing. Like you could have taken a cattle prod and done that. And it wouldn't have made me go any faster. I was going as fast as I could. I was just walking. I could not physically run. It was weird. My body, like if I started to jog, like body like shut down. It's like, nope, you're not running. So it's like I could walk, and I could walk at least pretty quick. I was making on the flats on the trail. I was like hiking like 17-minute miles. So it was fine. And like after he passed me, like I was in second for like a couple of hours walking. And
It's probably because you were on record pace for so long.
Yeah, and the next guy back was like an hour back of me.
There's a bit of a gap. Yeah, behind us.
You could say a bit of a gap.
Yeah. I think we had
a bit of a gap. It's like 5
we had an hour and a half.
And 100 miles, 5 seconds.
5 minutes is a bit of a gap. Like you had like an hour gap. We had like an hour gap.
But the 20 minutes normally in a 100 miler that you were ahead of me, that doesn't seem, that's not too much of a gap. But you've got to be seeing the numbers change and they were, if anything, getting further away from me. So, when I went past Max, first of all, after making sure that he was okay, is then thinking, just paranoia that he was going to suddenly feel better and start charging and chasing me
I
down.
was really hoping that was going to happen.
You never know, because I'm sure you kind of found when you're in the lead that you have no idea what the people behind you do, so you have to assume that they're doing amazing stuff to keep you doing as much as you can.
Right.
And then if you happen to be gaining on them and getting further ahead, it's like, great, okay, well that's good, but you assume that the next split you hear will be that they're closing you. So I only got one more update, which was going into that last aid station, 13 miles to go. My crew waited around for 25 minutes just to see if Max would come through within that, because that would mean that I'd put that would be like 4 minutes a mile I'd have put on you over 6 miles. So I was thinking that was pretty safe.
Yeah.
But they didn't see at that point, so I just had to keep going and hope that you still didn't have some kind of super second wind. Which is feasible. When someone's this quick, you don't feel safe until you're about a mile from the end, and you definitely can't see him behind you within half a mile.
Yeah, I left that aid station just a few minutes before we finished. So I left that aid station at 16 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice.
No.
I had to keep assuming it did. And literally, till about the last 3 miles, which are gradual uphill on a road going back into Leadville, I was a little worried. So it's quite stressful. It's more stressful being in first than second, I think. You must have had some degree of that during the day.
Oh yeah. Like what was frustrating was that it's a 100 miler, so I was kind of expecting at some point to be able to pull myself out of that by eating or like walking away. Never did. Like I felt like crap the whole rest of the time. Like never pulled myself out of that and never dug out of that hole. Like that was a hole that I just couldn't get out of. It was weird.
How'd you feel, Ian?
I actually felt probably the best I felt for the last 20 miles. It wasn't quite the quickest I've done that section, but if I had to speed up, I could have sped up a little bit, but not much. But I was just trying to keep it feeling as good as possible all day long, knowing that it usually feels horrible for the last 20 miles. So my rule of thumb for a 100 miler is that if you can keep it feeling reasonably good for about 80 miles and then you just suffer horribly for 20 miles, then that's a good day. And if it's more than 20 miles of suffering, then it's getting to worse and worse day. And the worst one I've had was getting to mile 30 in a 100 miler, and then it was 70 miles of suffering. So that I think of that as like the really bad version, and then if it's only 20 miles, I don't mind. This one was probably not, there's no really bad patch. So that was about as nice as you could expect to feel in a 100 miler. But it's not fun, just nothing really horrible, nothing like what Max was doing.
If I ever have a 100 miler where I make it to 30 miles feeling good and then 70 of bad, I think I'm proud.
Well, the only reason I kept going was because it's in the middle of something called a Grand Slam where you have to do 400 milers, and it was only the second one. And so I just
Max, you're totally doing that, aren't you?
I committed to the whole summer, so I had to do it.
Yeah,
so I forced myself to do it. If I psyched myself up that all of them, when you do several of them close together, I'd psych myself up that they would feel horrible. So not that I enjoyed the 70 miles of feeling crappy, but I was kind of resigned to, I might have to do that one of the 4, and so I did. But no, I wouldn't want to do that again. And if that was just a one-off thing, I'd probably stop and say, no, I'm not right today. I'll come back next month. I'm ready.
Yeah. Like David Lang's Western States, where he did like 40 or 45, and then he like ate 4 jelly beans the rest of the time. Yeah, and walked for like 60 months. I don't know. I don't think I could do that.
It's a long time to walk, but then again, if you think about the experience someone's having at the 30-hour cutoff, or whether it's a Western States or Leadville or whatever.
30-hour guys are like running like slowly, walking slowly, but still not feeling like crap.
I think some of them are feeling like crap for like 20 hours. Yeah.
Maybe.
But then why do it? Is that your question? I kind of agree, yeah.
I mean, I guess you maybe doing that once, just say you did 100 miles, but after that, I don't know, man.
But if you get into a race like Western States, where it's a lottery, it's really hard to get into, or Hard Rock, or UTMB, that again is a lottery, I think people they're willing to really go for it, even if they're having that horrible day, because they might not get in again for a decade or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
But at least, well, apart from Hard Rock,